That is one of the first things a stem cell does. It senses its environment. People say, oh, they go in and they transform into the organ cells.
Disease detection is automatic.
Njinsky, the future of healing today.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन, मेरा नाम सैयद असद अली है और मैं नजिंस्की मेडिकल सेंटर का चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव हूँ। आज मेरे साथ प्रोफेसर फ्रीदून जवाद अहमद हैं। ये नजिंस्की स्टेम सेल लैब के हेड हैं और नजिंस्की स्टेम सेल लैब के डिज़ाइनर भी हैं। डॉक्टर साहब ने पीएचडी की है यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ विस्कॉन्सिन मेडिसिन से, इट्स इन द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स, और इट्स करंटली रैंक टॉप टियर इन साइंस एंड रिसर्च इन द वर्ल्ड। डॉक्टर साहब ने 18 साल अमेरिका में काम किया है इन साइंस एंड रिसर्च एज वेल। उसके बाद पाकिस्तान वॉज फॉर्चुनेट इनफ कि सर पाकिस्तान आ गए, और उसके बाद इन्होंने किंग एडवर्ड मेडिकल यूनिवर्सिटी में एज हेड ऑफ बायोमेडिकल साइंसेस काम किया। डॉक्टर साहब उसके बाद यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ हेल्थ साइंसेस में इनिशियली फिजियोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट के हेड ऑफ डिपार्टमेंट थे। उसके बाद डॉक्टर साहब ने एक और डिपार्टमेंट हेड किया which was human genetics and molecular biology. उसके बाद we were very fortunate enough कि हमने रमज़ान अली सईद हॉस्पिटल में पाकिस्तान की पहली क्लिनिकल स्टेम सेल लैब बनाई। डॉक्टर साहब उसके इंजीनियर भी हैं, डॉक्टर साहब उसके आर्किटेक्ट भी हैं, और डॉक्टर साहब ने ही वो अपने हाथों से डिज़ाइन भी की। दिस वॉज इन 2018। उसके बाद हमने 2022 में एक और स्टेम सेल लैब बनाई इन रमज़ान अली हॉस्पिटल। फॉर्चुनेट इनफ प्रोफेसर फ्रीदून उसके भी डिज़ाइनर भी थे, आर्किटेक्ट भी थे, इंजीनियर भी थे। उसके बाद अल्लाह ताला ने हमारे पे बहुत करम किया। वी मूव टू DHA फेज़ 6 राया इन लाहौर। वहाँ हमने 2024 में नजिंस्की मेडिकल सेंटर में एक और स्टेम सेल लैब बनाई, एंड वंस अगेन प्रोफेसर फ्रीदून ने ही वो लैब डिज़ाइन भी की, इंजीनियर भी की, और उसका नक्शा भी बनाया। अब हम एक और लैब भी इंशाल्लाह बना रहे हैं जो डॉक्टर साहब कहते हैं गालिबन 5G होगी, पर वो अभी इन द प्रोसेस है। तो प्रोफेसर फ्रीदून, वेलकम टू आवर पॉडकास्ट। अच्छा सर, एक सवाल है जो प्रॉबली इन द ग्लोबल पर्सपेक्टिव है, और ये हर शख्स, हर फैमिली हमसे एक सवाल करती है कि क्या स्टेम सेल, इज़ इट रियल मेडिसिन और इज़ इट स्टिल फिक्शन?
I don't know what real medicine is. Well, I'll answer it in a different way. People who had ulcers, peptic ulcers, they had been asked to take anti-acids, proton pump inhibitors for their life. They had to take that medicine because it was thought, real medicine thought that it was because of stress and other factors. And then two people, I think Warren and Marshall, they came up and they said that it was actually a bacteria that caused peptic ulcer. And you know what? How they were treated? They were completely ostracized from the scientific and medical community. Till actually it turned out they were right, and that they received a Nobel Prize for this discovery. Okay. Right. Diabetics were taking metformin. It is a drug that helps them lower their blood glucose level. People did not know how it worked. The mechanism was not known, but we knew that it was a potent medicine, and it did have beneficial effects for people who were diabetic. Now we can come to stem cells. Okay, so the fact of the matter is that stem cells have a very potent, beneficial role in treating many diseases, and there are thousands of papers published, and people are publishing. So when someone asks me what is real and what is not real, I just like to say, point out towards the facts that, you don't always know what was causing the disease, but you do know what reagents or what therapeutic agents are beneficial for that particular disease. Right. So let me answer this question like that.
Perfect. ठीक है सर। एक और चीज़ है जो आई थिंक बहुत सारी फैमिलीज जानना चाहती हैं कि जब हम स्टेम सेल्स लगाते हैं, when we inject stem cells, इंट्रावीनस है, इंट्राथीकल है, आंखों में कहीं भी लगाते हैं, what actually happens when a stem cell is injected in the human body? वो करता क्या है सर जाके?
Okay, so Stem cells have a very important role, a sensory role. When you take stem cells out of culture flask or its native environment and introduce it into a new environment, the first thing that cell does, it senses its environment. And when you put it in a patient, wherever there is, whatever the site of injury is, it releases certain signaling molecules asking for help. So the stem cell, when it goes into that environment where there has been an injury or damage or whatever, for whatever reason, tissue or organ is not functioning well, that is a sort of a signal for these cells to go and integrate at that site of injury or wherever the problem is. So that is one of the first things a stem cell does. It senses its environment. So when it reaches the site of injury or wherever the malfunctioning is, then it again senses what is required to fix that problem. Because stem cells also have ability to produce many therapeutic molecules. The person who actually played a very important role in discovery of these cells and elaborating how they function, he used to call them, he actually renamed them. There was a paper that was published in which he said that I named them incorrectly. They're not mesenchymal stem cells, they're medicinal signaling cells, if I remember it correctly. So when they reach the site of injury, they start producing chemicals that will help regenerate that particular organ or the tissue that has suffered the damage. So that is generally how it works. There's a major misconception. I've seen clips on social media that people say, oh, they go in and they transform into the into organ cells. There's very low probability they do that. It's possible they may do it. I mean, it's not definitive. But what they actually do is they jumpstart the resident progenitor cells, resident stem cells that have ability to transform into tissue-specific cells.
Right.
So I have to point out that I'm talking about mesenchymal stem cells at this point. And there are different types of stem cells. We can come to that later.
So disease detection is automatic?
Okay, so it is not that these cells know that they are in person who has renal disease or liver disease. They're not diagnostic specialists, but they can sense where the damage has been, and once they reach that site, then they do the analysis that what is missing in the picture. Once they figure out what is missing in the picture, that is when their actual job starts, is repair the damage.
Right. Excellent. अच्छा सर, एक और चीज़ है जो आई थिंक एक ऐसी चीज़ है जो पूरी दुनिया में हर इदारा या हर ऐसा रेगुलेटर जो गालिबन ये नहीं चाहता कि स्टेम सेल मंजर-ए-आम पे आए, वो एक बात बहुत कॉमन करते हैं कि स्टेम सेल इज अनसेफ, स्टेम सेल इज अनप्रूवन. So being a human genetics and a molecular biologist as well as a cell biologist, as a specialist, how do you respond to this?
Okay, I think one of the big problems is that people consider stem cell a single entity. It's completely wrong. There are many, many different types of stem cells. First of all, you have to know what type of stem cell are we talking about. So the unsafe part is generally, initially, first people started working with the embryonic stem cells. And embryonic stem cells have a tendency to go through chromosomal rearrangements and form teratomas, or sort of, you can consider them benign cancerous tissue. But therapeutically, the stem cells that are being used are only multipotent stem cells, and they do not form teratomas. Again, I'll say that there have been thousands of studies which have proven that they do not do that and they do not cause any damage. And sorry, the second part of your question was?
Sir, unproven.
Unproven.
Unsafe and unproven.
Unproven. Okay. Do you know what is the market size of stem cell therapeutics?
So
it's in billions of dollars.
Couple of billions of dollars.
It is in billions of dollars.
Correct.
In introduction, you said you started from a small lab in Ramzan Hospital, and then you built another one, and this is the third lab.
Yes.
And
in the process of making a 5G lab, in your terminology.
Okay. Well, could you have done it if your product didn't work? Can you give me example of a single business?
Absolutely not.
Where their product is not working and they're generating revenues
Impossible,
globally. So don't take my
sakta.
word for it. You can Google it, or people can Google it and figure it out. So if there is money in it, then that means the product is working.
Right.
So,
अच्छा सर, बहुत सारे लोग again a lot of people who have incurable or untreatable ailments, diseases, autism जिनकी फैमिली में है, infertility है, मेल है, फीमेल है, जॉइंट डिजीज़ है, कोई आँखों की बीमारी है, रेटिनाइटिस पिगमेंटोसा है, ऑप्टिक एट्रोफी है, एंड मेनी अदर सच डिजीजेस. अगर वो लोग ये पॉडकास्ट देख रहे हैं, हाउ डू दे नो दैट दे कुड बी अ कैंडिडेट फॉर स्टेम सेल, और वो ये किस तरह फैसला करें कि क्या उनको ये ट्रीटमेंट करवानी चाहिए या नहीं करवानी चाहिए?
I don't think they can make that decision. What they need to do is come and see the relevant clinician or someone who can explain the therapy, who can diagnose. We reject a lot of patients.
Correct.
So when a patient comes in and we see that there is very low probability that patient will benefit from stem cell therapy, we just tell them straight out. I mean, that there's very low probability. If they still want to get it done, they can get it done. But people should not sit home and be making these decisions. At the minimum, they can come and see a specialist who knows about their disease and who has some, because clinicians generally don't have a great knowledge about stem cell therapeutics, but at least they can diagnose and they can talk to a scientist or stem cell specialist and discuss that case with them,
right,
that this is the disease. So the cell biologist or the scientist, they can convert the symptoms, patient symptoms, into cellular pathology,
right,
if they know their stuff. So once they do that, then they can figure out what are the limitations of the technology, and what is the probability that patient will improve. And then the decision is the patient's decision whether they want that treatment or not.
Right. सर बस 2 सवाल और हैं, फिर मुझे पता है आपने ऊपर लैब में भागना है. अच्छा सर, एक चीज़ ये है, डू यू बिलीव कि अगले 5 साल में कन्वेंशन मेडिसिन को स्टेम सेल थेराप्यूटिक्स completely रिप्लेस कर लेगा?
Not at all. Not at all. I think that first of all, stem cells cannot fix surgical or structural problems. For that, you need surgeon. Okay. You have people coming in and seeking stem cell therapy for their kidney disease or diabetes. So you give them stem cells, and they go home and start eating or don't take their medicine or the precautions that have been advised to them by the clinician. Stem cells are not going to overcome, because you have to understand, stem cells take time. The results come in several months. Meanwhile, or at least several weeks. So meanwhile, patient has to continue their medicine. So I think what I see in future is integration of stem cell therapy with the current, if you want to call it Western medicine, integration. So right now, stem cell therapy is sort of ostracized by most people that it doesn't work or they have concerns. People are entitled to their opinion. But this is what I see. Surgical part will stay, and medicine part and stem cells, they will have to fuse in future for the better good of the patients.
Right. So before you leave, and this is something that we've discussed before as well. So एक बात तो बताएं, honestly बताएं, you're in your 60s.
Edit that part.
You look in your 30s. So ये बताएं, इस सेहत के, आपके बाल, आपकी स्किन, आपका चेहरे पे आपकी क्या रौनक है माशाल्लाह. सर इसके पीछे राज क्या है? सर देखें,
I'm on record. I'll answer that.
हमें शक है कि आप डेली बेसिस पे कोई ना कोई स्टेम सेल की ऐसी चीजें इस्तेमाल करते हैं जिसने आपको 30 साल वक्त में पीछे ले गया.
I was hoping you'd say 50 साल. No. And actually, I have not, on the record, I have never ever used any stem cell. Okay. So your body has a significant number of cells that have ability to regenerate and fix many problems.
So ये राज हमें भी बता दें हम भी सारे आपकी तरह लगे.
You have to know a lot of biology. And you see, the other thing is what is working for me will not necessarily work for another person. As our faces are different, so is our internal chemistry.
Right.
So, but generally, I think if someone wants to take my advice, is one of the things they should do is regulate their diet and have a good exercise routine.
सर आप तो कुछ खाते नहीं सारा दिन. By regulate you mean don't eat.
Okay, so if you think about it, evolutionarily, you did not evolve in a system where there were grocery stores and you sat home all day and watched TV or sat in your office. People were actually hunters and gatherers.
They had to hunt.
They had to spend the whole day with physical activity so they could have one meal. So what people are doing these days,
hunting start कर दे.
So I think that is very important. But again, for the record, I have never used any stem cell.
चले sir, thank you so much. Sir.
My pleasure.
It was lovely to see you. Lovely to host you, sir. As always, a
Great.
pleasure.
Thank you for the
always indebted to you. Will always remain indebted to you, sir, for your services. Thank you, sir.
My
बहुत
pleasure.
शुक्रिया, sir. If you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more upcoming videos on stem cell therapeutics, infertility, health and wellness, and beyond. Thank you.
Njinsky, the future of healing today.